Hello everyone, it's Julia here. It's Sunday in the UK and I'm here today to do another review for you of another new deck of cards. This is the Tarot of the Divine, which I got for Christmas. I haven't used them yet. I've looked through them several times and I just love them. I think I'm almost scared to use them in a reading because I love them so much and I want to do them justice. I just love the artwork of these cards. It's like every single card is just a work of art in itself. I also love the stories, the fables, the legends, the myths. I just love them, and I just really hope that I can do them justice when it comes to reading with them. So this is the box. It's a beautiful box, actually. Everything about these cards is gorgeous. I can't tell you. They're by Yoshi Yoshitani, and it says inspired by deities, folklore and fairy tales from around the world. The path to enlightenment is unique for each of us, but many of the lessons we learn are shared stories passed among generations and cultures. These cost around £20, I think, in the UK. And it says on the box here $20 in the US and $25.99 in Canada also. And the copyright of this deck is 2020. So for me, they are actually a very recent deck. Although I've been reading tarot cards for a long time, like 30 years, I think, the vast majority of that time I only had a couple of tarot decks and sort of 3 or 4 decks of oracle cards, really, and I was happy with that for a long time. But since I've had my tarot channel, which is only 6 months now, I've collected and been given so many tarot cards and oracle decks, actually. So it's fantastic. But it, like I said, I think if you really resonate with a deck, it just makes you really want to do justice to that deck. I feel a little bit apprehensive about reading these cards. So the box inside has a lovely guidebook, and then the cards inside are just the most beautiful cards I think I've ever seen in my life so far, to be honest. I haven't shuffled these yet. No, I've just flicked through them. I haven't even shuffled this deck yet. So this is the back of the deck, which is lovely as well, isn't it? Often I'm not that fussed about the backs of decks, but these are gorgeous. I just love the colours. I love the colour schemes, the sort of teal and the green and the navy. The book itself that comes with it is a lovely little book as well. It's all fully colour illustrated. All the cards are there in full colour. It says, welcome listener, seeker and speaker. So a collection of cards. The tarot uses visual symbolism as a gateway between the subconscious mind and the conscious one. This is a traditional tarot deck using deities, folklore, fairy tales, myths and legends from around the world to represent the different themes in a traditional tarot deck. She gives you a little bit of information here about the suits, what numbers mean, whether you want to read upright or reversed meanings, the spreads. She gives you a few little spreads here. And there's also a sample card interpretation, which I think is often very helpful to see how the actual designer or author of a deck of cards might interpret them. And then, as I said, there's a lovely full colour picture of all of the cards in this deck. It's just lovely. I think this lady, Yoshi, has also done a book since this deck of cards called Beneath the Moon, in which she goes into more detail about the actual stories themselves. Quickly flicking through this book, some of the stories that the cards are set to, I recognise. They're Western fairy tales, and I recognise them, but there's a lot of different stories from around the world here that I've never heard of. You know, stories from Korea, China, Vietnam, Mexico, Alaska, you know, places that I wouldn't be that familiar really with their stories and their folklore. So it's gorgeous, and I'm sure that I will end up buying the book, the companion book that goes with this set as well. So let's have a look at some of these cards. We've got the Fool here, which is the Little Mermaid, I believe. She's sort of half in, half out of the water, looking off to the city there. Big dreams, hey? We've got the Fairy Godmother as the Magician, which is lovely, isn't it? That's a very different take on the Magician. I think this lady here in the High Priestess, I think this is Scheherazade. I think that's how you pronounce it, from the Arabic fairy tales. And I am familiar with some of the Arabian Nights tales. And I remember there's some classical music, I think, by Dvorak called Scheherazade, which has stuck in my mind for some reason. I'm not normally that big a fan of classical music, but I've liked Dvorak's music over time. I think the Emperor, excuse me, the Empress here, I think, is a saint from Mexico, but I'm not sure who that is exactly. The Emperor here is King Arthur, which is a fantastic representation of the Emperor. The Hierophant is a Native American lady. Again, I'm not familiar with her story. The Lovers, what a fantastic representation. This is Beauty and the Beast, isn't it? But not as in what I'm familiar with, actually, from the fairy tales that I've read. This looks like it's a slightly different sort of version of Beauty and the Beast, perhaps. The Chariot, I'm not entirely sure who that is. Strength, again, not entirely sure who that is. The Hermit, I'm not entirely sure who that is either, but I know something of the Celtic folklore of the stag, the white stag here, which I know is like a call to this life of contemplation. It's kind of like a call to give up responsibility and to enjoy some solitude and some time for contemplation and meditation. So that's what the white stag is, but again, I'm not entirely sure of the story there. There's an African story here in the Wheel of Fortune. There's a person in a spider's web there. I'm not sure what that is. The same with Justice. That looks either sort of Chinese or Korean, perhaps. The Hanged Man here, which I think is Sleeping Beauty, which is lovely, isn't it? Very, very different take on the Hanged Man. I think in Sleeping Beauty's case, she didn't really have any choice, did she, about her sort of suspended animation, but still a lovely story. There's Death there, I'm not sure who that is. Temperance, I think that's just Buddha, or a representation, a manifestation of Buddha, perhaps. The Devil, again, I'm not sure who that snake is. brilliant imagery. The Tower, I think this is Rapunzel. Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair. That was a favourite of mine as a child. The Star, I'm not sure who that is. That looks familiar, but I'm not sure. Again, not sure who that is in the Moon, but that is a gorgeous image, isn't it? The Sun here, this is Ra, isn't it? The Egyptian god, sun god Ra. So fantastic image to have as the sun. I think this is the Monkey King, perhaps. I'm not sure about that. That's Judgment. And then the World here, which is a very different representation, isn't it? Normally we only see one person on this card. And here we've got a couple, I think maybe from Hawaii or somewhere like that, doing their traditional dancing. I'm not sure what the story is, but that's lovely. And then what have we got as we go through the deck here? Not sure who that is. This is something to do with Gilgamesh, I know, the Two of Cups here. So that's a very different take on a love story, isn't it? I shall look forward to reading more about that. Three of Cups, I don't know who that is. Four of Cups. Yeah, there's an awful lot of stories here that I don't know, or that look vaguely familiar, but I'm not entirely sure. This looks like something from Grimm's fairy tales, but I'm not sure who that is, really. I would guess that we've got Aladdin here, which is brilliant. The Eight of Cups, not sure. The Nine of Cups, and again a very different representation of the Nine of Cups. Looks like there's two women here enjoying their each other's company. Yeah, I'm not sure what that's about. What story that comes from. Again with the Ten of Cups, Page of Cups, Nine of Cups, Queen of Cups. The King of Cups is a dragon. Look at the artwork on that card. It's just stunning, isn't it? See if there's anyone else here that sort of stands out for me. I think the Five of Coins. This is very Ride Away, isn't it? But this is the little match girl, isn't it? From Hans Christian Andersen, I'm pretty sure. So that's a terribly sad and kind of sentimental image for me. I remember as a little girl, I used to read all of these fairy stories all the time, and this one used to make me cry. So so that's a very sentimental kind of image there. What else have we got here? Well, there's definitely more stories here that I don't recognise than ones that I do. Just trying to see what else we've got here. The King, the King of Pentacles, the King of Coins is a tortoise. I'm going to have to look up the symbolism for that. What else have we got? I think the Four of Swords here is Beowulf, I think, which that's quite a sad and dark sort of energy there. I'm not sure about that one, because that's kind of Beowulf being bound, isn't it, and prevented from moving. And I'm not that familiar with the story, although I have read it and I've probably seen a couple of films and things to do with it, but I always end up feeling sorry for the creatures and the monsters in all of these things, like King Kong. That used to just break my heart, and I can't watch films like that really, because I just think all the creatures are just innocent. So yeah, I don't like that. There's a sword through Beowulf's mouth, isn't there? I'm not sure about that card. We've got, this could be Isis here, with Anubis perhaps behind her. I'm not that up on Egyptian mythology. I shall have to look at that. What else have we got? Again, there are ones here that are kind of familiar, but I'm not entirely sure who they are. Queen of Swords. So the King of Swords is I think that might be a griffin. Perhaps. I think I might have that right, a griffin. What else have we got? 3 and 4 of Wands. Could be a phoenix here, couldn't it? Not sure about that. What else have we got? Page of Wands, the Knight of Wands, Queen of Wands, and the King of Wands. Ooh, maybe a peacock? I'm not entirely sure what that creature is there. But anyway, they are the cards, and as I said, I haven't even shuffled them yet. I just get them out every now and again and have a look at them and go ooh and ah and oh, aren't they gorgeous? Look at the colours, they're so beautiful, and put them away. But I will try and refresh myself on some of the stories here. The one that I thought was a phoenix, it says here's a rainbow crow, so it just goes to show what I know, doesn't it? I could obviously use these cards immediately just to read with, because I obviously know the meanings of all the cards, but I think to really get the best out of them, to give them an added sort of dimension and an added depth, I think to know a little of the stories that go with them would be a really helpful thing. Yeah, I mean, we've got here Philippines, Mongolia, Nigeria, China, Persia, Egypt, Iran, Persia, Denmark, Mexico, Denmark, Cambodia, Iraq, Japan, New Zealand, China, and so it goes on. So there's a lot of stories there that I would have never heard of, really, and I think it would do me good to learn a little bit more about them. I'm sure I shall buy Yoshi's book Beneath the Moon at some point and learn even more about all these lovely stories. But anyway, I hope that you enjoyed that as much as I do. I think these are image-wise and feel-wise, these are probably my favourite deck so far, and I've got a lot of decks that I'm very fond of actually, but I think these are just magical. I just love them. So there we go. I may be bringing you another review video later today, or a reading. I'm not entirely sure. I've got a nice quiet day, so I'll see how I feel. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope everybody's well and happy. Give me a thumbs up, please, if you enjoyed the video. Feel free to share anything in the messages. If you have a favourite card in this deck, I would love to hear that. If you haven't subscribed already, I'd be really grateful if you would. It really helps my channel, helps with the algorithms, and it helps my channel to grow. As I said, I've only been doing this for 6 months, so that would be great. But anyway, thank you and have a good day.